The Last Seed of Terra, Chapter 1, Desperate Descent. The shriek of alarm sliced through the hum of the Ark's engines, a dissonant wail that echoed through the sterile corridors. Red emergency lights pulsed, painting the white walls in a macabre dance of shadows. The air crackled with static as the intercom sputtered to life. "All hands to emergency stations," a voice announced, strained with worry. "This is not a drill. Repeat, this is not a drill." Dr. Iris Sinclair jolted from her work table, a petri dish of fragile seedlings clattering to the floor. She quickly knelt to retrieve it, her fingers brushing against the delicate leaves as a pang of guilt surged through her. These seedlings were more than just specimens. They were the last whispers of Earth's once vibrant ecosystems, a testament to humanity's folly. "Athena," Iris called out to the ship's AI, her voice tight with worry. "What's the status?" The AI's soothing voice filled the lab, a stark contrast to the chaos unfolding around them. "Multiple systems failures detected, Dr. Sinclair. Primary engines are offline. Life support is fluctuating. Hull integrity is ... promised." A cold dread settled in Iris's stomach. The Ark was their lifeline, their only hope of finding a new home after Earth's ecological collapse. It had been decades since they left their dying planet, generations born and raised within the confines of this metal behemoth. Now it seemed their fragile sanctuary was on the brink of collapse. Iris rushed to the nearest viewport, peering out into the vast expanse of space. A swirling vortex of stars painted the canvas of infinity, a breathtaking yet chilling reminder of their isolation. She could almost feel the weight of countless souls who had sacrificed everything for this mission, their hopes and dreams resting on the fragile shoulders of the Ark. "Commander Stone," Iris calmed the ship's captain, her voice barely concealing her growing panic. "What are our options?" The reply came a few moments later, crackled with static. "We've lost too much thrust, Dr. Sinclair. We can't reach our planned destination. We need to find a place to land. Now." The weight of their predicament settled heavily on Iris's shoulders. A crash landing was risky, especially with the Ark's systems failing. But it was their only chance. As she rushed towards the bridge, Iris passed Greta Chen, the ship's chief engineer, her usually stoic face etched with worry. "Any luck, Greta?" Iris asked, her voice laced with a desperate hope. Greta shook her head, her voice hoarse with exhaustion. "We're buying time, but it's not enough. We need to land soon or the whole ship will go dark." Iris nodded, a grim determination hardening her features. She joined Greta in the cramped engineering bay, the air thick with the scent of ozone and burnt wires. "Can we make it?" Iris asked, her eyes scanning the blinking lights and flickering screens. Greta met her gaze, a spark of defiance in her eyes. "We're engineers, Iris. We make things work. We always have." A tremor shook the ship, knocking them off balance. The lights flickered, plunging the room into momentary darkness. "We have to make it," Iris whispered, her voice barely a breath. "The future of humanity depends on it." Greta nodded, her fingers dancing across the controls with renewed urgency. "Let's give them a fighting chance." The Ark lurched as Commander Stone initiated the emergency landing sequence. Iris braced herself, her gaze fixed on the planet looming larger in the viewport. It was a barren, hostile world, a far cry from the lush paradise they had hoped to find. But for now, it was their only hope. Chapter 2. Whispers of the Past. The acrid smell of smoke and scorched metal hung heavy in the air as Iris emerged from the wreckage of the Ark. Around her, a scene of organized chaos unfolded. Crew members, their faces etched with shock and exhaustion, dragged injured comrades to makeshift triage stations. Others scrambled to salvage whatever supplies they could from the mangled remains of their home. Iris's gaze swept across the alien landscape. The sky, a bruised purple, cast an eerie glow on the jagged peaks and dusty plains. The air was thin and dry, making her lungs ache with every breath. "Welcome to our new home," Commander Stone said, his voice a weary rasp. He stood beside her, his usually impeccable uniform now torn and stained. "Not exactly the paradise we were hoping for." Iris forced a weak smile. "It's a start." Stone nodded, a flicker of hope in his tired eyes. "We're survivors, Sinclair. We'll adapt." But Iris knew it wouldn't be easy. The Ark had been their sanctuary for generations, providing for all their needs. Now they were stranded on a desolate planet with limited resources and an uncertain future. As the days turned into weeks, the survivors established a rudimentary camp, rationing their dwindling supplies and venturing out in small groups to explore the surrounding area. The planet seemed devoid of life, a barren wasteland of rock and dust. During one such scouting mission, Iris noticed a faint glow emanating from a crevice in the rocks. Curiosity piqued, she approached, her boots crunching on the dry earth. The glow intensified as she neared the crevice, revealing a narrow opening leading into a cave. "Greta," Iris called into her comm, "I think I've found something." Minutes later, Iris and Greta stood at the mouth of the cave, their flashlights piercing the darkness. The bioluminescent glow grew stronger as they ventured deeper into the cavern, revealing strange, glowing flora clinging to the walls. "This is ... incredible," Greta whispered, her voice filled with wonder. "I've never seen anything like it." Iris nodded, a spark of hope igniting within her. Perhaps this planet wasn't as lifeless as they had thought. They continued deeper into the cave, following the winding path until it opened into a vast chamber. In the center of the chamber, bathed in a soft, ethereal light, stood a massive, intricate structure of shimmering metal and glowing crystals. "What is it?" Greta asked, her eyes wide with awe. Iris cautiously approached the structure, her fingers tracing the strange symbols etched into its surface. As she did so, the air around them hummed with a low frequency, and the structure seemed to come alive. Holographic images flickered into existence, depicting scenes of a lush, verdant world teeming with life. This was this planet," Iris whispered, her voice barely a breath. The images shifted, showing the gradual decay of the ecosystem, the once vibrant landscape withering and dying. A monstrous, swirling vortex of darkness appeared, consuming the planet's energy. "The seraph," Iris said, her voice filled with dread. The ancient records had warned of this parasitic entity, a devourer of worlds. The holograms faded, leaving Iris and Greta in stunned silence. They had stumbled upon the remnants of a lost civilization, a sister world to Earth that had fallen victim to the same destructive force that had ravaged their own home. But amidst the despair, Iris felt a glimmer of hope. The artifact had also revealed the planet's incredible potential, its dormant power waiting to be awakened. Perhaps, with the help of this ancient technology, they could find a way to fight back against the seraph and reclaim this lost sanctuary. Chapter 3. The Pulse of Hope. The cavern thrummed with an energy that was both ancient and invigorating. The air crackled with a faint electrical charge, making the hairs on Iris's arms stand on end. The alien console before them, a symphony of glowing runes and intricate symbols, beckoned with the promise of salvation. "It's responding to our biometrics," Greta said, her voice hushed with awe. The holographic display flickered, revealing a complex schematic of the planet's interior. A network of glowing veins pulsed with energy, converging at the planet's core. "This is it," Iris whispered, her eyes tracing the glowing lines. "The planet's life force, still vibrant despite the seraph's damage." Athena, the ship's AI, chimed in, her voice a soothing counterpoint to the tension in the air. "The data suggests that the terraforming engine is still operational. We can tap into the planet's energy reserves." Hope flickered in Iris's chest. But at what cost? She couldn't shake the feeling that this power came with a price. "The seraph," Greta said, her voice grim. "It'll sense the energy surge. It'll come for us." Iris nodded, her resolve hardening. "We can't hide forever. We have to fight back." For days they worked tirelessly, deciphering the alien language, studying the energy patterns, and piecing together the puzzle of the terraforming engine. Commander Stone, initially skeptical, was swayed by their determination and the undeniable potential of the technology. "We're gambling with our lives," he said one evening, as they shared a meager meal of reconstituted rations. "But I'd rather die fighting than wither away in this wasteland." Iris raised her cup in a silent toast, to taking back what was stolen from us. Finally, the day of reckoning arrived. They gathered in the central chamber, the air thick with anticipation. Iris, her hands trembling slightly, activated the terraforming engine. A low hum filled the cavern as the ancient machine roared to life. The holographic display erupted with a blinding light, then resolved into a real-time image of the planet's surface. Tendrils of green, the first signs of new life, began to spread from the engine's location. A cheer erupted from the gathered crew, but it was short-lived. A shadow fell over the chamber, the light dimming as a swirling vortex of darkness appeared in the sky. "The seraph," Greta whispered, her voice barely a breath. Iris watched as the creature descended, its form shifting and writhing like a storm cloud made of shadows. Fear gripped her heart, but it was quickly replaced by a fierce determination. "This is our chance," she said, her voice ringing with newfound resolve. "We know its weakness. We know how to fight back." The Seraph's arrival was a terrifying reminder of the power they faced, but it also ignited a spark of defiance in Iris. This was their chance to reclaim their destiny, to right the wrongs of the past, and to ensure the survival of the last seed of Terra. Chapter 4. Shadows of the Seraph. Days blurred into sleepless nights as the crew of the Ark transformed their sanctuary into a makeshift laboratory. Makeshift workbenches lined the corridors, once pristine walls now adorned with complex diagrams and scrawled equations. The air buzzed with the electric hum of alien technology and the murmured conversations of weary scientists. Iris, her eyes rimmed with exhaustion, hunched over a console in the heart of the ship, her fingers dancing across the interface. The alien language remained a puzzle, but patterns were emerging, clues to the nature of the Seraph's energy. "It's like trying to decipher a symphony written in a language we don't understand," Greta grumbled, her voice raspy from lack of sleep. She leaned over Iris's shoulder, her brow furrowed in concentration. "But there's a rhythm to it, a pulse." "A pulse!" Iris echoed, her eyes widening. "That's it!" With renewed vigor, they dove back into their work, analyzing the Seraph's energy signature, cross-referencing it with the planet's own life force. The more they learned, the more they realized the terrifying truth. The Seraph wasn't just consuming energy. It was feeding on the planet's fear, its desperation. The first attack came without warning. A wave of darkness swept across the land, snuffing out the nascent plant life that had begun to sprout around the terraforming engine. The ship's sensors blared, warning of a massive energy drain. "It's feeding," Iris said, her voice a horrified whisper. The crew mobilized, utilizing the few salvaged weapons they had to defend their makeshift home. The battle was fierce but uneven. The Seraph's shadowy tendrils reached out, tearing through metal and flesh, leaving a trail of devastation in their wake. They suffered casualties, brave souls who had given their all for a future they would never see. Iris watched in horror as one of her own team, a young botanist named Liam, was swallowed by the encroaching darkness. Grief warred with determination in Iris's heart. She wouldn't let Liam's sacrifice be in vain. She wouldn't let the Seraph extinguish humanity's last hope. With grim resolve, Iris and Greta threw themselves back into their work, analyzing the data from the attack. They noticed a pattern, a subtle fluctuation in the Seraph's power that coincided with moments of fear and panic among the crew. "It's not just energy it's after," Iris realized, her voice shaking with excitement. "It's feeding on our emotions, our desperation." Greta nodded, her eyes gleaming with understanding. "And what if we stopped being afraid? What if we offered it our energy willingly?" Iris met her gaze, a spark of hope igniting within her. It was a radical idea, a desperate gamble, but it just might be their salvation. If they could turn their fear into defiance, their despair into hope, they might be able to starve the Seraph of its power. "It's worth a try," Iris said, her voice filled with a newfound determination. "Let's show this parasite what humanity is truly capable of." Chapter 5. Embers of Rebirth. A hush fell over the gathered crew, the only sound the rhythmic thrumming of the Ark's life support systems. Iris stood before them, her face drawn but resolute. The flickering light of the hollow display painted shadows across her face, accentuating the worry lines etched around her eyes. "We have one chance," she began, her voice barely a whisper. "One desperate gamble." Elias stepped forward, his eyes searching hers. "Tell us, Iris. We trust you." Iris took a deep breath, her gaze sweeping over the faces of her comrades, weary, scared, but with a flicker of hope still burning within them. "The Seraph feeds on our fear, our desperation. It thrives on stolen energy. She paused, her voice growing stronger. But what if we offer it something else? What if we offer it our energy? Willingly. A murmur of confusion rippled through the crowd. Greta stepped forward, her expression a mix of apprehension and curiosity. You mean sacrifice the Ark? Our life support? Iris nodded. It's a beacon, Greta. A beacon of hope, not despair. If we can lure the seraph here, channel all our energy into the planet's core, we can overload it. It won't be able to resist the sheer force of our combined will. A silence descended upon the room, heavy with the weight of the decision. Lives hung in the balance, the fate of humanity resting on their shoulders. Finally, Elias spoke, his voice echoing with determination. We have come too far to give up now. We will do this, for Earth, for our children, for the future. A surge of energy filled the room as the crew rallied to the cause. They worked tirelessly, modifying the Ark's systems, converting its life support into a beacon of pure, unfiltered energy. As the final preparations were made, Iris found herself standing on the bridge, her hand hovering over the activation switch. A wave of doubt washed over her, but she pushed it aside. This was their last stand, their only chance to redeem the past and forge a new future. With a trembling breath, she pressed the switch. The Ark shuddered as its energy surged outwards, a blinding beam of light piercing the darkness. The seraph, drawn like a moth to a flame, descended upon the ship, its shadowy tendrils writhing with anticipation. Iris watched as the creature enveloped the Ark, a monstrous silhouette against the starry sky. The ship's lights flickered, then died. A deafening silence followed, broken only by the ragged breaths of the survivors. Then a brilliant flash of light erupted from the planet's core, so intense it momentarily blinded them. The ground trembled, as if the planet itself was screaming in defiance. When their vision returned, they saw the seraph, its form disintegrating, its energy dissipating into the atmosphere. A cheer erupted from the crew, a wave of relief washing over them. In the days that followed, the planet began to transform. The barren landscape sprouted with new life, vibrant hues of green and blue replacing the desolate browns and reds. The air grew thicker, the temperature moderated. It was as if the planet itself was rejoicing in its newfound freedom. Iris, standing on a hill overlooking the budding landscape, felt a sense of peace she hadn't known in years. The guilt that had haunted her for so long began to fade, replaced by a quiet hope. They had lost so much, but they had also gained something precious, a second chance. They would rebuild, she knew, slowly and carefully, honoring the lessons of the past. They would create a new society, one based on respect for the natural world and the interconnectedness of all living things. The last seed of Terra had found fertile ground, and from its ashes, a new dawn would rise.